Chris here from Friendly Frenzy Games, and today we're going to explain and solve all of the puzzles in the elevator escape room, which is the fourth escape room in the Omega Corporation chapter of Rooms in Escape Simulator. Let's jump in. So as the kind of name describes here, we're trapped in an elevator right now in the building, presumably leaving the executive office here. We can see here that we have a couple of different floors, 7, 6, 4, 2, obviously, and this is basically going to be the order of puzzles that we can solve. To start off here, you can see that we have a keypad in front of us, and these kind of symbols here, almost like braille-looking symbols, very closely relate to what's marked on our keypad here. You can see the L shape is in red, and then we have a couple of other different shapes here in kind of a white or a yellow kind of color here. You can see that that red L, it's not lit up in red on these keypads here, but you can see that each floor has that L shape. What we're trying to do to figure out the combination to this first keypad here on the 7th floor is really just figure out where these symbols are and kind of forget about the L shape. So once we can figure out what floor is represented by this kind of top left corner here, we can figure out what that number is. So if you go to floor 6, you can see that we have that same grouping of 3 dots here, basically our top left corner. There's the L attached, but again, we're going to kind of forget about that for right now and just focus on the other grouping. So we know our first number in this is 6, so we'll put 6 in. Our next one here is a grouping of 4, and we can see that our 7 has that grouping. 2 is very close also, but if you notice, it has the L shape and then really only an extra group of 2 kind of pegs here. We need to have that additional 4 as opposed to the 2. Being separate from the L shape here, so our second number is going to be 7. And lastly, we're looking for the top right corner, essentially another 3 grouping of lights here. And if you look, here's our L shape, but forgetting about that, we have our 3 grouping of pegs here to our right top corner, and it is going to be 4. So 6, 7, 4 for our first keypad. We'll hit the check mark, and that is going to uncover a key center part. And essentially what we're doing in this room is trying to build an elevator key that's going to help us escape the room. So you can see here that we have a center key part. As we go through and complete puzzles in the elevator, we're going to unlock a couple of different pieces of this key, and it's ultimately all going to slot on top and going to create a key that fits into kind of this compartment here. So we can go ahead and proceed down to the next floor, so floor number 6, to get us our next puzzle here. So just click the 6th floor and we'll see what we have in front of us. We see that we have almost like a vault style or a safe style kind of combination here with some gears, some lights, and kind of a central starting point here. What we need to do is we can see where there's a wet floor sign in the middle and there's some spillage in here. If you look underneath, you can kind of see some circles traced underneath here. What we need to do is grab the mop. The rag and cleaning bucket won't work. You need the mop and just hold on to it and kind of wash the floor here really quickly. And you can see that we start to uncover a diagram or the solution that looks very similar to the puzzle that we have in front of us. We'll just throw this out for now. As you can see, here we have our starting point here, so we know that our center ring, we have our far right kind of bottom corner ring. They both need to be completely lit up with the blue lights, and our far left bottom corner and the very top only have the ones that kind of join in the middle. So what we need to do is basically make a series of adjustments using these things here, our cog to turn either left or right, but you can see where it overlaps. You're going to be able to kind of change using another set of gears for the circle that's attached to it here. So obviously with this center one, you're going to be able to change these 2, and these 2, whereas if we were to just use this top gear, it's only going to be able to change the 2 lights that are attached to the middle circle here. So to be able to start swapping some of these out, again, we know we need our center one completely filled up blue, and we need our lower right corner here completely filled in blue. We know because our top one doesn't have any except for these 2 that are touching, we can try and get the blue out of these top pieces here. So just make a couple of series of adjustments. Already you can see we almost have the bottom right completed, but we want to try and get this last kind of blue out of here. If we turn this one a little bit, we have our lower left completed, but we know we don't need any there. But again, just to kind of work this through a little bit here, we'll just keep rotating until we can get some things that start to line up for us here. So as you can see with this, we have our lower right completely figured out here. But again, we know we need to get our middle one sorted out now too. So what we want to do, obviously with our 2 whites up top here, if we rotate this, now our lower right isn't going to be complete, but we have the pattern of our 2 blue lights left. We basically just need to make the adjustment, switch these 2 white lights out for those 2 blue lights. So we'll just kind of switch it over to here. Now that it's lined up on this angle, or on this kind of centerpiece here, we can just turn this cog, and you can see that we have our middle blue ring completed and our lower right ring completed here. So we get our first key part. What we can do now is pull up our key center part and just drag and drop from our inventory the key part that we just collected. And you can see that our key is starting to take shape here, and we can move on to our 4th floor puzzle. So we'll go ahead and hit 4 in the keypad. And we now have our next puzzle. So it says, much can be learned by observing the space between our thoughts. And if we look to our left here, you can see that there's a number 2 and a number 6. What we need to do is actually go down to the next set of floors. We can't go to 2 just yet, so we'll go down to 0. But what this is asking us to do is put in the number that it's going to read out of our window here. So if we go ahead and hit 0, we'll see 2680. And that's ultimately what we're going to put in the keypad for number 4's puzzle. You can see obviously here when we go to the ground floor level, we have a different puzzle and a different keypad. We want to go back up to the 4th floor here and just input that number. So again, we'll see in reverse. We'll see a 0, an 8, a 6, and a 2. But we know obviously we have to put it in the correct order. So 2, 6, 8, and 0. So 2, 6, 8, 0. Hit the check mark and we uncover a key. And this is obviously a full key. Where we need to put this is just following kind of this description here, or this kind of clue. It says, follow your dreams by Donald Crane. And there's some lights in behind us here, and we can, if you notice this, our cursor turns to a cog, which means we can make adjustments to any one of these letters that we want. Obviously you can see if they've been adjusted or if they're kind of a little out of whack, they're red instead of blue. What we need to do is essentially spell crane with these letters here. So I'm just going to go ahead and adjust the M. We can keep the R because we're going to need that obviously to spell crane. So here we have the C, the R. We'll rotate this and get the A in. We will do the N incorporation, and we just need to steal the E from Omega. And you can see that it pops out almost like a little terminal here. And this gives us a spot to plug in our complete key. We have one more kind of terminal here that we need to plug a full key into, but we don't have that quite yet. So once this is unlocked, it's actually going to give us the last piece of our elevator key. So for right now, we can leave that as is. We've got this all good now. We can go ahead and actually go down to our ground floor, because again we have the 2nd floor isn't lit up yet, so we can't quite get there. We'll go down to our ground floor and tackle this kind of last puzzle here. And what this is saying is they went missing on the way down. So we see basically here the keypad or the floor kind of indicator that we have on our right side. Obviously it starts at 7 and goes to -1. So right here we have again our kind of floor tree here. It starts at 7, goes to -1. And with the directive that they went missing on the way down, if you look closely here, you'll notice that we have 6, 7, but we're missing 5. It goes to 4, but we're missing 3, and then we go to 2 and it's missing 1. What we need to do, and this kind of red note indicates the order that it needs to go in, but they're looking for the missing floors, and the order is kind of from highest to lowest, essentially meaning or saying that by saying that they went missing on the way down. So we need to know, or we know that we need to go basically from top down. So our combination here that we'll key in is the 5, the 3, and the 1. So we'll put 5, 3, 1 into the keypad and hit the check mark, and we will get another piece to our key. So again, just clicking and dragging that onto the top, you'll see that we're missing another 2 pieces here for our key to be able to escape this elevator. What we need to do now is actually tackle this briefcase that's been kind of just chilling in the corner here. So hit the tab on the left and hit the tab on the right, and then click the lid, and you'll open up somebody's briefcase here. You'll see that we have a post-it note up in the corner. So this yellow post-it note is going to tell us how to get to the second floor. What we need to do, obviously it's saying that the elevator still hasn't been fixed, but we need to press the number 2 3 times quickly, and then go to and then hit the -1 button to bring us to the second floor. So we'll click 2 3 times, and then hit -1, and it's going to take us to the second floor. Here we are now with almost a light panel with an omega kind of symbol on it, and this puzzle is basically recreating the light that we have just right above us here. And to kind of get our bearings here, we can see that we have a token, but I'm going to save that for later. But these two flashing lights right now, obviously you can tell the light is broken, but these two kind of flashing panels here are indicative of the red markings here. So what we need to do, because of the omega markings on this keypad, we need to light up all of the omega signs on this light. So I found it easiest to just go through and turn on everything right now, and we can figure out what we have. We see that we have 3 omega signs here, so one on our bottom left corner, we have one in our second row on the far right, and then one in our top row, that's the 3rd position. So again, keeping in mind that we need to keep only the omega open. If we click one button, we can see that those lights turn off, so we can turn that one off. We said our first omega sign is the bottom left, so we'll leave that one blue or on. We said our next one is just right here in the far right corner, so we'll leave that one on and turn these other ones off. And then to get our last one, we said it was just this position here, so we can turn all of that off just to confirm that we have our top row lit, and we just need to eliminate the entire second row. As soon as we do that, we get our other key piece here, and just by the same pattern here, we'll click and drag this piece on. The last piece that we need for this key here is actually back in the briefcase. What you need to do is just move this kind of back corner paper here. You'll see that it opens or gives access to a switch with a secret compartment. You can see that we have another full key, and if you remember when we were looking back at this panel here earlier, there was 2 kind of key entry terminals here. So we plug this full key in, and it's going to unlock our last piece of the elevator key. Again, click and drag, and you can see that we have a fully completed elevator key, and this is going to allow us to override the elevator, and you'll see that the -1, so even under the ground floor, is lit up now. So we want to hit the -1 button here to bring us to the underground floor, and this is essentially going to set us up now for the last escape room in the Omega Corporation series of rooms, and it is called Metaverse. So hopefully you'll come join us again when we tackle that one tomorrow. But for now, if this video has helped you, if you liked what you saw here, give Friendly Frenzy Games a like and subscribe. Drop a comment in the comments. Let us know where and how it helped you. And we'll see you all in the next video.